Is arguably the most important discovery in human history. A fractal is a shape that repeats itself forever. No matter how much you zoom in, the pattern endlessly multiplies. The most famous one is the Mandelbrot set. It comes from one incredibly simple math equation, but it generates infinite detail. You could zoom in forever and never see the exact same shape twice. Warning, your mind is about to be blown. The entire universe might just be a giant fractal. Think about it. If one tiny rule can create infinite complexity on a screen, what if the Big Bang was exactly that? Not a random explosion, but a single basic rule that started multiplying into stars, planets, and us. It sounds insane, but look at nature. Trees grow from one trunk, splitting into branches, then twigs, all copying the same shape. Even you started as a single cell that kept dividing. It proves reality doesn't need complicated instructions. The universe builds infinite beauty from simple math, repeated over and over. This is our asteroid Apophis is coming back to make an extremely close approach to Earth on April 13th, 2029. And the details are actually crazy. This rock will be 10 times closer to us than the moon. It's literally going to fly closer than our satellites in the geostationary belt. Because of this, it's going to get so intensely bright you'll be able to see it with the naked eye from certain parts of the world. But here's where things get wild. Being so close means Earth's gravity will have a notable impact on the asteroid and physically alter its path. It's going to pass right through what scientists call a gravitational keyhole. If it threads this exact spot, it could lead to a potential, but still very unlikely, impact when it returns in 2068. But honestly, this 2029 approach isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. Nature is delivering this right to our doorstep, allowing us to study the rock in unbelievable detail. Asteroid. Nikola Tesla had to be a time traveler because the things he invented shouldn't have existed in his lifetime. He created the exact electrical system the entire world still uses today. Your lights, your phone chargers, all Tesla. He could build and test complex machines entirely in his head, fixing flaws without ever touching a tool. Even modern engineers can't do that. In 1898, he built a remote-controlled boat. People were so freaked out they thought it was magic, forcing him to open it up to prove it wasn't alive. Before airplanes even existed, he predicted smartphones, Wi-Fi, drones, and self-driving cars. Obsessed with a wireless world, he shot 20-foot lightning bolts from massive coils and wirelessly lit lamps from 26 miles away. Despite inventing the future, he died completely broke. The government instantly seized his research because even they didn't understand what he was building. He changed the world entirely self-funded. Imagine what he could have done with today's technology. Nikola Tesla had to be a time traveler because do you know what happens by the time you die? In the very first minute of your life, over 30 million of your cells have already died and been replaced. And that is just the start. By the time you turn 1, you'll have taken your first 20 million breaths. Suddenly you're 10, and your skeleton has completely rebuilt itself, secretly renewing every single bone in your body as you grow. By 25, you'll have taken over 50 million steps. Bro, that is literally enough to walk the entire length of planet Earth. Now in a blink, you're 50. You've experienced 300,000 laughs, but crazy enough, you've also spent 17 straight years of your life totally unconscious and asleep. And finally, by age 73, your heart has pulled off the ultimate marathon, taking an insane 2.5 billion beats. It actually produces enough physical electricity inside your chest to keep a light bulb on for an entire year. You walk around every day not even realizing it, but your body is the most insane machine ever built. You know what happens? If you're swimming in the ocean and see this coming toward you, don't even bother running. It's already too late. This is the Ningen, a 60-foot-long, massive humanoid lurking in the deepest parts of the sea. In 2022, whale researchers spotted what looked like a pale, smooth creature. But as it surfaced, they realized it had actual human hands and fingers. It stared at their ship before vanishing into the abyss. But the trail goes back further. In 2005, Google Earth captured a massive, distinct shape near Namibia that scientists quickly dismissed as just an iceberg, despite it looking perfectly biological. Then, in 2010, a Japanese team filmed a creature on the seafloor with a giant smiling mouth and tiny dark eyes. Some claim it's just a sea snake, but others swear these things can walk upright on land like a person. Most of the footage is reportedly being suppressed by governments to prevent a total public meltdown. And the word Ningen literally means human in Japanese. You still ready to go swimming? If you're swimming in the ocean, you wouldn't last 10 seconds in the real ice age, and you won't believe the last creature on this list. Back then, nature wasn't just cold, it was a total nightmare where survival wasn't even an option for most. Everything was built to end you instantly. First is Arctodus simus, the short-faced bear. This 12-foot monster could outrun a horse. If it caught your scent, you were already a memory. Then there's the dire wolf. These weren't regular dogs. They had bone-crushing jaws and hunted in packs that would stalk you for miles until you collapsed. Next is the Megatherium. Imagine a giant ground sloth the size of an elephant with 6-inch claws like meat hooks. One swipe and it's game over. Then the Smilodon, the saber-toothed cat. Those 7-inch daggers were designed for surgical precision. It didn't just bite, it deleted you. But the deadliest of all? Humans. We didn't have claws or speed, but we had the strategy. We were the only things crazy enough to hunt the monsters hunting us. You wouldn't last 10 seconds in the real life. Fish die if they stop swimming. So how on earth do they ever sleep? For most animals, sleep means laying down and turning off your brain. But if a tuna does that, they stop breathing and die. It sounds like a total survival nightmare, but nature actually programmed a wild workaround called uni-hemispheric sleep. Basically, their brain is split into 2 separate halves that take turns hitting the power off button. While one side goes into a deep nap mode, the other half stays fully awake, steering the body and keeping it slowly moving forward. Scientists can actually see this on a brain scan. One half goes quiet while the other lights up like it's wide awake. This keeps the water flowing over their gills so they don't suffocate while they're dreaming. It's like having a permanent cruise control that lets them drift through the dark ocean while they're technically unconscious. And tuna aren't even the weird ones. Wait until you hear what dolphins dream about. Fish die if the current American flag was literally designed by a high school kid, and his teacher actually gave him a bad grade for it. We know Betsy Ross sewed the first 13-star flag, and as America expanded, it grew to 48. But in 1958, a teenager named Robert Heft needed a history project. Bro heard rumors that Alaska and Hawaii were about to become states, so he stays up all night sewing a 50-star flag. He turns it in thinking he nailed it, but his teacher drops a B- on his desk because it had the wrong number of stars. Robert is heated, so the teacher sarcastically tells him, "If Congress adopts this, I'll change your grade." Challenge accepted. Robert goes on a mission, calling the White House 18 times and sending 21 letters. He literally spams the government until one day after school, the phone rings. It was the president calling to make his project the official U.S. flag. It flew for the first time on July 4th, 1960, and you already know he made that teacher change his grade to an A. Current American flag. "I was just curious," said the Russian scientist who injected himself with a 3.5 million-year-old bacteria. Bro, he might have just unlocked human immortality. Back in 2009, Anatoly Bruchkov found an ancient bacteria frozen deep in the Siberian permafrost. Against all odds, it was still completely alive. But here is where it gets crazy. When injected into mice, fruit flies, and crops, it didn't hurt them. It actually made all of them live way longer. Because modern science couldn't figure out exactly how it worked, getting approval for human trials was totally impossible. So Anatoly quite literally said YOLO and injected it straight into his own bloodstream. The results are mind-blowing. Almost 16 years later, not only is he still alive, but he claims he feels better than ever. He has insanely high energy levels and hasn't caught a single cold or flu since. If this microbe really is the literal fountain of youth, whoever cracks the code is going to be the richest person in human history. Don't read the comments. It will spoil the very satisfying ending. In 1999, an obsessed 20-year-old broke into a 16-year-old's house, demanding she date him. When she refused, he took her life and attacked her 14-year-old sister. But he messed up. The younger sister survived and instantly identified him. In court, this dude showed zero remorse, even calling his victims stupid. When sentenced to the death penalty, his tough guy act vanished. He cried, begging for mercy, and it worked, because a legal loophole downgraded his sentence to life in jail. Thinking double jeopardy made him untouchable, he made the dumbest mistake ever. He wrote an arrogant letter to the prosecutor, bragging about beating the system and confessing to every single detail. The prosecutor handed it to a judge who took one look and said, "Yep, this is new evidence." That single letter entirely voided his loophole. He was dragged right back to court, resentenced to death, and a few months later, this lowlife was gone. Don't read the You've been lied to your entire life about the T-Rex. They didn't sound like this at all. You probably recognize that iconic roar from the movies, but Hollywood got it completely wrong. The issue here is that roaring is a mammal thing. Lions and tigers roar, but roaring is a mammal thing. Lions and tigers roar, but the T-Rex wasn't a mammal. Their closest living relatives are actually crocodiles and birds, and neither of those roar. So to get an accurate recreation of what a T-Rex sounded like, scientists had to mix a deep crocodile rumble with a bird's guttural hiss. When you hear it put together, it's actually way scarier than anything in the movies. What's even crazier is that you would feel the sound in your bones. Imagine walking through a dead silent forest and suddenly hearing this. The megalodon has been extinct for 2.6 million years. Or has it? In 2022, scientists dragging nets off Australia found a massive underwater shark graveyard. They pulled up hundreds of teeth from makos, great whites, and a megalodon ancestor. But here's the terrifying question. What monster ate all those sharks? Later that year, another crew picked up a 50-foot, 40-ton shark on their scanner. Panic set in until they realized it was just a giant, tightly packed school of fish. But not every sighting is a false alarm. Of course, it's always Australia, bro. In the 1960s, a millionaire's 86-foot boat broke down near the Great Barrier Reef. While anchored for repairs, the crew watched in pure shock as an unimaginably huge shark slowly glided alongside them. They knew it wasn't a whale. They claimed this beast literally rivaled their entire ship in size. The men kept it a total secret for years, terrified people would think they were crazy. Megalodon has... This is genuinely heartbreaking to say, but this video might be the end of my entire channel. I just received the worst notification of my life. YouTube has completely demonetized me for inauthentic content. I have no idea what I did wrong. The problem is, YouTube is run by AI robots now instead of actual humans, and they are wiping out creators by mistake. I'm not alone. Hundreds of other big ranters have been targeted in the last few days. And I need to be real with you guys. This channel is how I survive. I have a busy life and real responsibilities, and without this income, I literally cannot afford the time it takes to keep making these videos for you. It crushes me, but I might have to quit just to pay my bills. The only chance I have left is you. Please, go to my Twitter, repost the tweet, and tag Team YouTube. We need to make enough noise to get a real human to look at this. I'm really scared. So, if this is truly my goodbye, I will leave you with a final... This is genuine.